Okay, now we're going to learn how to print and to plot. Two important things. Now, the artboard that I've been working on for this presentation has been an A3 size document, but it could well have easily have been an A0, as we looked at in the beginning, or A1, both conventional architectural paper sizes, A3, A4, but this happens to be A3. So it's a landscape, 420 millimeters wide by 297 millimeters tall, and we're going to start by checking our document setup. There's a few things you want to check before you print. Options can change, so it's worth checking out. The millimeters are correct. You want to check your artboards, make sure it is 420 by 297 millimeters or whatever you want. So we can click off. And then we want to check our document color mode, make sure it's CMYK. If you're printing, you always want to make sure it's CMYK. It stands for cyan, magenta, yellow, and the K is the black. I'm not sure what it is. RGB, red, green, blue, that's for monitors, as we talked about in the new file video. So then we go down to print. That brings up our printing window. Here it is. Okay. Now generally you should be able to do most of the editing and setting up in this window. However, depending on your printer, and this is something to be wary of, every situation is different, and almost each time you print on the same printer it can be different depending on your particular file. So familiarize yourself with all the settings. One of the things I habitually do, because I don't trust a lot of the automated settings within the Illustrator printing window, is to go to the printer setup window, and that can be accessed through the setup button down the bottom. This is recommended just to double check all your settings, because once you printed color A0 you could be short $12, and just to discover it's only printed on half of the page. Just to check out our printer that we are going to be printing on to start off with, there's the Canon MP270 series printer, so that's the printer I will be printing onto. But you also have the option of PostScript files, which help you going into another program such as Photoshop, if you should so want to, or InDesign. But I generally recommend QPDF as a writer. That's something you'll have to install if you want to print to PDF. That being said, the recommended option for exporting PDFs and JPEGs and everything else that you might want to reference into, say, an InDesign document, or to print from another document, should be done using the export option. We'll have a look at that in another episode. Okay, so a few of the features on the screen: copies, 1, 2, 3, however many copies you want. You can just have all of them selected, so if you had 5 artboards, they would print all of them. Or you can have range selected if you only had a couple of artboards, and select which ones you want. Now, depending on which printer you have selected, different sizes will be available to you. This is something you can edit more by going to the printer setup, which I won't look at too much at the moment. I'll have a quick look in there later. But you can select A4, A5, B5. There's a lot of strange sizes in here, but because I want to print to a PDF so that I can reference it into an InDesign document later, I am choosing the QPDF writer and going to A3. If you find that your paper size isn't here, depending on your plotter or printer, you'll have the option of setting your own paper size. I don't have the option of doing that at the moment here, but you can choose a custom. If you go down to the bottom or the top, there you go, custom size, and it opens up the opportunity to change the exact width and height of that print and auto rotate there. So you can see that the previously, when it was an A4, in our preview window on the left, the print was going over the paper size, which is document 420 by 297, but the paper was only A4 at 210 by 297. And you can, a good way to check that it's going to be the correct size is just to look at the preview window and make sure the do not scale option is on. Whenever you're presenting for an architectural drawing, you want to make sure that the scale is correct before you even get to this window. Use the rulers to check that, and you can even draw a line of a known scale to check geometries against. That's a trick that I use. And make sure the do not scale is checked in here. Placement in the center, which is default, and that's just about everything you should need to know there. You can go to the setup window if you really want to have a look at the exact properties of the printer. So if we were having a look at the Canon MP270 series printer, we would then go to preferences, and it would show me a lot more stuff. So if you're having issues with your printing, it can often be solved by going through here and having a look at all the different options. So if I put A3 scaled, yeah, it's not supported. Generally, the printers in the workshop or outside the CAD labs at the University of Queensland support all the necessary paper sizes. And finally, print layers. I usually leave the visible and printable layers on, but you can play around with those other layers, other options. They speak for themselves. And if you want to set up the print settings and have them all ready just to go for your final print, you can click the Done button, and what that does is it saves those settings for the next time you print. And if we go back up to the print dialog, you can also go up to print preset. You see it's on custom because we've been making our own print options, and you can save it. So save as print preset 1, okay. You can customize that for each different printer as well. When you're ready to print, go down and hit the print button. And that's it.